everybody. Welcome back to the Fin Factor. I'm Paul.
And I'm Aaron.
And this is episode number 114. Aaron, we just got done with a mini sweep of the LA Kings in their own barn. Man, that really felt really good.
It did. It's always good to beat the Kings. Almost as good as beating Vegas, but I feel like Vegas is a better satisfying win. But yes, going into the Kings place, and I can't even remember how many we've beaten them this year, but man, they were in a playoff spot, and I say were because now the Sharks are even closer, I believe, in the standings to the playoff spot. So they just leapfrogged over LA with those two wins. I'm sure LA fans and the LA team are not very happy with themselves right now.
Yeah, probably not the case. Among those guys that are very unhappy, guys like Jonathan Quick, guys like Drew Doughty, guys like Anze Kopitar, all guys that I like being not very happy right now.
Well, Jonathan Quick with the game-winning assist tonight.
Yeah, hey, how about that, right? Yeah. Turned it right over, and like we said, Gamby loves a go-ahead goal. So that one, pretty nice to see. You know, sometimes you just get lucky. Like the first goal tonight, for instance, LeBanc, it just kind of ricocheted around and went in the net. You know what? Throw the puck in the net. Sometimes fancy things happen there. So speaking of fancy things, there's a fancy little button on our tweets and on Facebook there. It allows you to share us to everybody that you know. So if you have Sharks friends and family that you'd like to share our content with, please make sure that you hit a retweet button or that you share it with them. Get them in the comment section right here, right now. We can get this conversation going with everybody else. For instance, I got a great comment here from Kellen Foster. Says the Sharks are diagnosed with a UTI because they have serious PP problems. PP, of course, being power play. Yeah, their power play wasn't super impressive tonight, but that's okay. I'll take what I can get. In fact, the next comment there from Nick saying 4 in a row. That's what we're going to focus on here. The positive things, right? 4 in a row for the San Jose Sharks. They sweep. Who was it? Minnesota, right? And then they go and they sweep the LA Kings here in this again these 2-game mini series. So 4 in a row. That's 8 points they've collected in the past 4 games. And I know you weren't too happy with the shootout win in Minnesota, but I mean these ones definitely feel a whole heck of a lot better. Now there's a bit of a development, we'll say, that happened during this game. After the first period in this game, Marc-Edouard Vlasic goes off the ice for intermission, and he does not return in the second period. Now, of course, everyone's freaking out thinking, okay, wait a minute, what does this mean, right, for Marc-Edouard Vlasic? And here's the tweet, actually, Curtis Pashelka saying, per the Sharks, Marc-Edouard Vlasic is doubtful to return to the game, not saying if it's an injury. Of course, they were just saying he's doubtful to return now. So we were saying, okay, could be an injury. But I did hear Randy say he was in the locker room injured, but that was just something that Randy kind of blurted out. I think he was kind of going back and forth on whether it, something that they need to get excited about or something that is just not a big deal. Let's not worry about it too much. Let's not speculate too much. But he did kind of just blurt out injury, right? So there was the first thing. But then actually in the post-game presser, Bob did confirm. He said, yes, it's an upper body injury. It happened sometime early in the first period, and he played the rest of the period, but he didn't really have anything else to give after that. So apparently that's all it is. So we're just giving you guys that information. We just heard from Bob Bugner in the post-game conference. So that's apparently all that it was. It was just an upper body injury for Marc-Edouard Vlasic. So however, of course, I was kind of stirring the pot a little bit here with Aaron, and that Aaron's got the same look in his face right now. Like, wait a minute. So my whole comment was, and I'll turn this over to you after this, Aaron, is, I would be considered doubtful too if I wasn't a member of the organization anymore. So Aaron, go ahead, take over. What do you want to say?
This is pure speculation, but if you were to be traded, the league office isn't open. I think they close probably 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. Eastern. So we're well past that, but a trade could have been in the works with a team, and maybe they just decided, the two teams decided, the Sharks and another team, I don't know who, but could have decided, yeah, let's do this, but it won't be finalized until tomorrow when the league office is open and everything gets actually official and signed. So for now, can you pull him out of the game so he doesn't get injured? That way, otherwise the trade will be off. So who knows? That's the way it would be, like kind of explaining why he would leave mid-game and not be injured. That's a good sign there. And also why they wouldn't announce it afterwards, because it's not official with the league. So I know for sure Doug Wilson wouldn't announce anything unless it was official, like paperwork signed and accepted by the league. especially with him because he has such a large cap hit that the league is going to want to probably take a look and make sure that everything is working. And because we use Cap Friendly, but Cap Friendly is a guesstimate. It's not exact. It's not what the league uses. So they have a different source, their own thing that is not shareable. Cap Friendly is a great way though that kind of goes through and estimates as best as they can based on the salaries, based on the term, based on everything else. So we only have a guesstimate. So anyway, that kind of help explains why, if it was a trade, and why he left the game and was not injured.
Now, giving credit here, because it was Shang Peng who, the first tweet that we saw that had noticed this and kind of even showed the last shift for Vlasic, saying nothing here looked amiss. So kind of, giving credit where credit is due. That's where we initially saw it, was from one of Shang Peng's tweets. One of the comments following up on that tweet, however, had mentioned that there were Boston Bruin scouts in attendance for this game. I don't know where that came from, and I don't know if this guy's reputable whatsoever. I think he had like 46 followers, something like that. But apparently he seemed to think that there were Boston Bruin scouts. I'm not putting a whole bunch of weight into that, but do you know, for instance, because I know you're into the whole fantasy hockey thing, do you know if Boston Bruins would even be interested in a guy like Vlasic?
Yeah, and someone else had tweeted that they were looking for a top 4 defenseman. So I think Vlasic could be a top 4 defensive defenseman. So it makes sense. But there's scouts at almost every game all the time. So you take that for what you will. It's not that it's not that definitive, like, oh, he's definitely going to Boston. They could be scouting someone on the Kings team. It doesn't have to be there on the Sharks. So I could go many different ways with that.
100%. Absolutely. I want to call out a couple comments here now, actually. One of them, Noah Claxton, the Sharks, felt cute, might slip into a playoff spot. I don't know. Good stuff, Noah. And then, of course, Scott Kemp said I'd be back after they win 4 in a row. So I'm back. Maybe I'll buy some merch. Hey, man, that would be awesome. And you can go to the store, thefinfactor.com, where we do have 40% off of everything in the store, hats, T-shirts, like there you go. There's the graphic. 40% off. The hats are 18. The T-shirts are 15. The stickers are 3. This is the best sale we've ever done, and it's lasting all the way through April 12th. So head over to thefinfactor.com. Go ahead and cop yourself some merch, and as long as it's before April 12th, before the trade deadline, you'll get this 40% off. Now would be a great time to take advantage of that. And Scott, just in general, welcome back, buddy. I'm sad that you left us in the first place, but welcome back. So there you go. Also, if you're thinking of other ways that you can support the show, on Venmo at the Fin Factor, or you can go ahead and use a super chat. I'm sure Lundy will be in here at some point and want to talk about Dustin Braun and how he's going to get traded back to the Sharks or something. So either way, yeah, those are certainly ways you can help support the show, and we do appreciate you guys doing that. So yeah, definitely, Scott. Let us know if you're planning on getting some in the chat there, which one you're planning on snagging. So that'd be great. Thank you so much. Okay, Aaron, are we done with pretending that we know what's happening with Vlasic here?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think anything would be coming out tonight anyway. So if there is a trade and it's announced tomorrow, we will be on to talk about it. I will say that. So we'll do it. We'll see tomorrow if it is announced.
I don't care what time it is. Whenever you're available, I'll make myself available and we'll do this.
Yep.
All right, good. Okay, so let's talk about the games that happened against LA. The first one here was on Friday yesterday. It was a 3-0 win. Shutout for Martin Jones. It's been a while. At least I think it has. So this game, it was the Hurdle, Meyer, and Balcer's line. They get all 3 goals. They were buzzing the entire night. Very hard to play against. Very hard on the puck. It's funny. We called out Timo Meyer last game. He very clearly pays very close attention to our show. Okay. And he wanted to get that monkey off of his back. So, he just wanted to prove us wrong. And I get that. Timo, obviously you're watching right now. Hey, good on you, buddy. Way to go. I'm so happy for you that you're kind of returning to form here. Maybe we'll just keep calling you out. I don't know. Aaron, what do you say?
I hope he's not watching and hating us. He's probably like, who are these guys, man? Hey, man, get out of here. Yeah. I'm glad he's turning things around, and hopefully he's a little more consistent, which I feel like he was his last 2 games. But it could be a thing of who he's playing against. Maybe he hates LA just as much as we do, so he kind of gets a little bit more motivated. I don't know. I like the guy. I like him as a player. He just needs to be more consistent.
All
amateur
right,
hour.
sounds good. Yeah, so yeah, I thought that line in general, they played really well. They were playing really strong. Again, feet were constantly moving. I can't say enough about Rudolph's Balcers, and even in tonight's game, we saw the same thing. The guy keeps his feet moving. There was a nice little play. He chipped the puck to himself in the zone, got the puck in deep, sucked the defense in down low, and then was able to get the puck back to Hurdle, who had time and space. So he's doing little things, not necessarily always showing up on the scoreboard, but he's doing the little things that are giving his teammates time, space, and the ability to make a play. So Rudolph's Balcers, when he was originally traded, and they had said this on the broadcast too, when he was originally traded, he was kind of upset, like, hey, I thought you guys wanted me. Why am I a part of this deal going the other way? And then for the Sharks to reach out again and pick him back up because he was on waivers, it just kind of showed like, look, we really didn't want to give you up. It was just we had to. We were forced to. But now that you're available, absolutely, we want you back. It's not like you were just a piece that we were sending, as currency. There was still a want for you to be on our team. So I think that's motivating for the guy. So I'm really glad to see that he's stepping up and playing the way that the Sharks organization thought that he could before he was traded. Looks like he got some development maybe in Ottawa, and it's paying off right now in San Jose. So good on him. And that line is really thriving right now, whereas before, especially with Timo not really stepping up to the plate. And then Hurdle, when he was kind of injured, Donato was kind of up and down that line. There really wasn't any consistency on that second line for a while now. At least now it looks like we've got a solid line for the second line at least. And that first line's always been buzzing. So at least our top six is starting to look like it's a little bit more reliable. And I can't say enough again about the Gambrell line. They were hard to play against tonight. Of course, they got a goal. Or Gambrell got a goal, like you just said, behind the net there when Quick flubbed it.
Yeah, Gambrell did get a goal in the first game against LA, and they called it back. And I felt so bad because I'm like, of course they called back the goal against Gambrell because he does everything but score. So good to see him actually get a goal, a legit goal in tonight's game.
Yeah.
But on that second line, Balcers, I think he brings a very good element to that line of his speed. His speed he's much quicker and speedier than both Timo and Hurdle. And Timo and Hurdle are both big bodies. So they kind of can like chip the puck in, let Balcers go after it. He chases it and gets it back to them, gets possession. So it's a very good chemistry on that line. And I think that's why it's working so well. And I'm glad they were able to put it together and it's working because it looks good on paper just as well as it does on the ice. I think they're probably one of the better lines, like you said, giving the Sharks a solid second line. And I think that Gambrell line's coming together as well. It's good to see them get a goal, and that's becoming a pretty solid third line right now. Getting a goal here and there in every other game is going to be pretty good for them and good for the team.
Very good. One comment I wanted to call out here. Dan Nguyen says, how goes it, boys? It goes well, Dan. 4 in a row. Anytime you get 4 in a row, it's going pretty well. And again, like we just said, the Sharks lines look like they're doing a good job of kind of gelling and playing well together. At least those top 9, we'll say. That fourth line, it doesn't look bad. It's just not very noticeable, which is, again, most fourth lines in the NHL, maybe except for the New York Islanders. None of them are very shiny to look at, I guess you could say. So again, that top 9, we're looking like a pretty decent team right now. I'm very happy with it. And even the D pairings, everything's looking fairly good there. Like I commented last time, you've got the big 3 on the San Jose Sharks. You got Burns, Carlson, and Vlasic, right, in terms of the big money contracts. But their pairing guy, right? So Ferraro, Knizhov, Shimmick, they're making those other defensive guys better. They're making the big dollar D-man better on their pairing. So you don't see any one of those guys paired up anymore. Like Vlasic and Carlson were paired for the longest time. So I think everything's going really well right now for the Sharks. And again, when you win 4 in a row and you're a point out of the playoff spot, as bad as the Sharks had played the entire season, yeah, dude, things are going well. So, hey, thanks for joining the show. We appreciate your comment and being in here. I do want to talk about Brent Burns real fast because he had his 500th assist. Aaron, during the course of this show, I think the first season, we had the Joe Pavelski goal watch, right? So we're looking for milestones there. Then we had the milestone watch for Joe Thornton. And seemed like every single game he had a new thing that he was breaking a record for. And then this season, and there's another milestone here, is Brent Burns getting his 500th assist. There's only 19 defensemen in the NHL history that have gotten 200 goals and 500 assists. I think they said like 14 of them or whatever the number was are in the Hall of Fame. So, Brent Burns is well on his way. Now, a cup would certainly help his bid there, but he's a very special defenseman, and anybody who says otherwise, I'm sorry, maybe you just don't like the guy, but He's a very special talent, and congrats to him on getting his 500th. And it was a very interesting way to get his 500th assist. I don't know if you caught this, but he's out there and he breaks his stick. Now Rudolfs Balcers sees this and hands him his stick. Here's the problem. I don't think Balcers is anywhere near as tall as Burns, so the stick's probably a lot shorter for Burns to use. But Balcers is also a left-handed shot, and Burns is right-handed. So he's out there defending with a stick that's got the curve going the wrong direction. The puck kind of gets floated up. He grabs it with his glove, puts it down, and he goes to pass it. But again, it's a wrong curve. So instead, he kind of goes on his backhand, which is now the stick's forehand, and then passes it up to Rudolfs Balcers, who had gone to the bench and grabbed a new stick and then scores the empty net goal. So really a cool story for like your 500th assist, like this milestone assist, right? That you were able to use someone else's stick which was like the incorrect handedness and make an assist to him, even though it was an empty net goal. Still pretty incredible stuff. What do you think about that? Isn't that the craziest story?
I think it's hilarious, and I would take that stick and frame it if I were Brent Burns and have Rudolf Balcers sign it. I think that would be fantastic. But yeah, Rudolf Balcers gets the assist and the goal on the same goal with the two sticks out on the ice. But yeah, he put it on the backhand, and you can kind of see he stutters a little and kind of looks down and goes, "Oh, right, that's not the curve is going the other way," and then he passes it up to him. So yeah, it's pretty cool when you see unusual stories like that, and it just makes it even more special that was his 500th assist of his career. I can't imagine more milestones being broken with someone else's stick. So that's probably one of the firsts. So pretty unique and pretty cool. Makes for a good story, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. We've definitely seen someone score with another player's stick. I think it was a goal that was scored with the opposing team's player's stick one time, and he kind of showed it to him. It was Patrick Kane, I think, but not as a milestone goal, right? So like you said, very, very interesting, very unique kind of thing going on there. So anyway, let's talk about the game tonight. Again, another win. This one, I believe, was a 3-2, right? Yeah, so Jones gets to start again. That's the thing we didn't talk about last game here was Jones has started. And he had already started the previous game as well. So just he's getting the net a lot. I mean, he's the number one right now. He is the hot hand. And Devin Dubnyk is kind of just taking a back seat and sitting back and waiting for his turn. The interesting thing here was, again, that this was not just back-to-back games, but back-to-back nights. The games were not 24 hours apart, right? So for Martin Jones to get set right back in after having already started, I think it was 2 or 3 in a row. This might have been his third in a row. Still, it just seems kind of incredible because we were even saying, expect every Friday, Saturday to be one goalie and then the other one. But I guess because they're getting a little bit of a break and they only have the Tuesday game, maybe Dubnyk gets the Tuesday game and then Jones gets a whole week worth of rest or something like that. I don't know. What do you think about Dubnyk kind of sitting out right now?
Well, maybe because it was against the Kings and that's Martin Jones' old team and he usually plays well against them. So that probably played a factor into at least starting it. And then he gets a shutout. You're kind of like, oh, well, let's keep the ball rolling and see how well he does. I'm not a big fan of back-to-backs, even if there's a shutout beforehand of the goalie starting again. So I thought that was kind of odd. But Martin Jones is piling up the wins now. So you're trying to do, as Bob Bugner would be trying to do, is get as many wins as possible for his team. And Martin Jones right now is the best option for him to get there. So I understand it. It's not something that I would have done. But again, I'm not an NHL coach. So, hats off to Bob Bugner for going with his gut and going with Martin Jones again and getting yet another, not just a win, but a regulation win, which is bigger than a shootout win or an overtime win. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I bet they're going to have to rest Jones because they play again on Monday, right? I think that's what the
Tuesday
schedule this week is: Monday, Friday, Saturday. There's no Wednesday game, so right?
Tuesday, Friday, Saturday.
Oh, sorry, Tuesday. Yeah, I would think one of those games we'll see Dubnyk. Maybe we see Jones again because he's going to be riding the hot hand going into the next game, and he's got now 2 days. But he did make a lot of saves tonight. I mean, they had 37 shots, and the night before they had 30. That's a lot of rubber coming at you in 2 days. So at least they're not traveling far. They're down in LA. It's not like they had to go very far. It's nothing like getting on an airplane. That's the other thing. Like compared to other seasons, when you see back-to-backs, they're in the same place. So they're not getting on a plane and seizing up the back and cramping up. Not that they're flying coach ever, but
yeah,
I know what the coach is like.
I could definitely see something like this going forward. Honestly, I know this is a very unique schedule for this COVID-ridden season here, but I think there's something to be said for these 2-game miniseries. I kind of like having the same team a couple nights in a row. I don't know. It's almost like a small playoff-ish atmosphere. You get this kind of animosity between the two teams a little bit more than you normally would. And when somebody does something that needs to be responded to in the first game, it gets responded to right away, as opposed to you wait almost a month sometimes before you play that team again. And then, why did he jump him over there? Well, it's because a month ago, by then I think guys have kind of forgotten some of that stuff and it's not as fresh. I think that stuff happening kind of back to back like this is a lot more entertaining. So I wouldn't even mind having a schedule similar to this after COVID, the whole COVID era is over, if you will, because for me, it's just a little bit more entertaining. But speaking about Devin Dubnyk being out, again, there's a lot of this whole trade conspiracy talk, and I figure why not? I'll just throw another log on the fire here. It could very well be that Dubnyk is not getting as much time right now to just maybe they're in talks with another team and they're kind of just preventing him from getting an injury, trying to keep his minutes low and his games played low if somebody else is interested. And it could be also getting Jones ready to take on a larger load again. He's already played, like I said, a few games in a row here, and he plays back-to-back nights as well after even picking up a win and not giving him the night off, having him play again. So if they were to unload Dubnyk for whatever reason, you could imagine whoever they have playing as his backup would probably not get very many games. And this could just kind of be one of those, hey, can Martin Jones still handle having tons of games thrown at him in a row? Now, again, this is all speculation and whatnot, but it does kind of make me wonder if that's maybe something that might be going on. Do you have any thoughts on that whatsoever other than you're crazy, Paul?
Yeah, you're a little crazy. But I think their trade deadline kind of talks now are going to be a little bit different because of the position that they're in right now in the standings. I don't think they're going to be as much as sellers as I thought they were going to be a week ago before they pulled off, a streak like they are. Now think of it this way. If the Sharks had played LA and Anaheim and piled up those wins earlier in the season, and then they're playing Colorado and Vegas and they start sliding. So let's say the Sharks jumped into a 4th playoff spot and now they're sliding and they're in 6th in the division. Would you be more in your mindset saying they need to get somebody at the deadline to make this team better and get back to where they were, versus now where they're starting to win? You're kind of like, oh, well, I guess they're not going to sell people. Now they should try and get somebody. You know what I mean? It's a completely different mindset based on kind of the schedule and how they were on the road for so long. And now they have a lot more home games. So, and they're playing weaker teams kind of stacked up a little bit more. I mean, this West Division to me is probably one of the weaker ones and the best chance to get into a playoff spot compared to the other ones. So I don't know. Now my whole line of thinking being 1 point out of a playoff spot is, man, maybe they should go for it. But, maybe they shouldn't. And maybe they should sell and get as many assets as possible.
We're going to talk a little bit about if this is a playoff team a little bit later on, so we'll save some of those topics. But no, I like where you're going with that. So we'll continue that conversation just a little bit. I do see a note here saying that he's over 900 on the save percentage there. Did you want to say anything about that specifically, or was that just a data point?
Well, that's a long time coming for Martin Jones and a lot of people that have been hating on him. So, his career save percentage is 909, and he's finally over 900. It's been since, when was that? Let me look at his stats. 2017-18 season was the last time he was over 900, and he was at 915. So a long time coming. Poor guy's been, through the ringer and the media and all the fans hating on him and wanting him to get bought out and traded or exposed to the draft and all this stuff. And now it's like, oh, well, he's playing pretty well. He's been solid the last couple of games. I hope it continues. I don't hate the guy. I like him. I think when he's on top of his game like he has been, he makes some pretty amazing saves. There's a lot in there where you're like, wow, how did he flex that much to get his legs across and to stop that puck? A lot of the times I'm like, man, that's so lucky where he just sticks his foot out as far as he can and gets practically just the toe on the puck to keep it out. He's very much a butterfly goal. He takes everything down low away, which to me is like a high percentage of shots, at least up in close. They're going to be low. They're not going to be up high. So, yeah, I don't mind Martin Jones right now, especially since he's winning. So I'm glad to see him do better. And Logan Couture was asked about it, I think, tonight in the press conference. And he stuck up for him saying, man, I feel bad for him. I've been there. And he's working his way through it. And he works his tail off in practice, after practice, before practice, during the off season, in the summer. He really worked and tried to be back to where he was or better than he has been. So kudos for him. And I'm glad some people are recognizing it at least.
Yeah, I mean, this is something we've said on the show about a billion times. Martin Jones is not an elite goaltender, but he's also not a bad goaltender. And I also had said, and I'm patting myself on the back here. I don't care what you think about me, okay? How many times have I said, when this defense starts showing up, you're going to see the goaltending numbers get better? Have I not said this 1,000 times?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So,
sorry.
And yeah, you're supposed to respond. Thank you. It was way too long of silence there. It sounds like you're questioning me. So Bob Bugner had mentioned that. He says, I'm really proud of the way that our defense is playing. Not just the defensemen, but like our team defense. I'm really proud of the way that they're blocking shots, getting in front of it, right? They're doing a great job of limiting those extra chances, keeping guys boxed out. Couture talked about that during the postgame tonight was, keeping yourself between them and the goalie, getting them out of that high danger area when the shots come. And they're doing a much better job of that. And I think that's reflected again in the goalie, for those on the podcast, I am using air quotes, goalie stats, the save percentage and goals against average, and even the more advanced stats. Look, it's nice that they're called advanced stats and that they're more accurate, but it doesn't really necessarily spell out exactly everything. You can't predict these whole expected goals for and expected goals against. When you're trying to use stats as predictive measures, I don't know. I kind of throw those out the window. But regardless, I watch the goaltender and how the goaltender's playing, and I think that he's always been decent. But there are times when the defense around him is just not helping him out. And this is a guy who needs that help. Right now, he's getting that help from the defense, and his numbers are reflecting it because, again, for me, those numbers really tell the tale of the team, not just if the goalie is awake or not, right? So, again, something I said many, many times, and people have argued with me, and that's cool. We all have our own opinions, but it's nice to see that when they are playing good defense, it's showing up on the goalie stats as well. The quote unquote goalie stats. So enough about Martin Jones. Let's talk a little bit about Timo and Kevin Labanc. Timo, again, yesterday the last show that we did, we called him out. Yesterday he scores. Tonight, it was the Kevin Labanc show, finally, to get off of the schneid, right? So Kevin Labanc gets his first goal. I think it was like 9 or 10 games. So kind of the same thing. He didn't do the whole move the team did with the monkey coming off of the back after he scored. But, it was one of those ones where he shot it and it pinballed around a little bit, hit off of Kopitar's leg and bounced in the net. And, on the one hand, it's like, yeah, that's not really a Kevin Labanc goal, if you will. This is a guy who should be shooting the puck for corners, shooting for accuracy, not just throwing at the net and praying. But at the same time, you know what? You put the puck on net, you never know what's going to happen. And it's just good to see him finally get one, even if it was off of, a bit of a pinball there. So happy for Kevin Labanc and happy for the puck to go in the net for him. Finally, it's been far too long. The rest of that line's been doing all the heavy lifting. Evander Kane, Logan Couture. Again, they had another great goal tonight. I don't know if you caught this one. The puck gets down low underneath the net, and Logan kind of gives his backhanded, almost no-look pass, and it just led Kane just enough as he was cutting to the net, and he just grabs it, waits out quick, and throws it in the back of the net. Beautiful, beautiful stuff by that line. But again, nice to see Kevin Labanc kind of joining the fun on that line, because I feel like you could almost plug and play anybody else on the team next to Evander and Logan, and they'd probably be doing pretty well because those two are just on fire right now. So anyway, that's the whole thing with Kevin. I don't know if you had anything you wanted to mention about Kevin.
I think that was very much a goal of Kevin because he banked it in the goal.
Oh boy.
I gotta get a dad joke in there, Yeah,
I appreciate that. Let's actually get a comment here from Scott Kemp again. We still want to trade Timo. Okay, back up. It's not that I want to trade Timo. It's that I wouldn't be sad if we traded Timo. And frankly, I'm still in that boat. He had a good game the other game, and I think even tonight he played well. But I think, Aaron, you said it last time around. I feel like he's got more to give.
Absolutely. He's was a couple seasons ago was a 30 goal, 30 assist guy, 60 points, and everyone thought, oh wow, he's starting to produce, and might be just kind of the tip of the iceberg. Can he be a 40 goal, 40 point, or 40 assists, like 80 point guy? But I still don't see it, only because it's not that he doesn't have the skill, it's the consistency to kind of put the team on his back and put up points consistently. I mean, take a look at what Evander Kane does every night, right? Every night this season, at least, he's been giving everything he can, looks dangerous, and is almost always on the score sheet. That's kind of what you need from Timo Meier, someone who's always busting their butt off to get on the score sheet and help the team get better. And there's nights where he just takes off. You say, wow, where's Timo Meier? He has 0 hits in the game, maybe a -1 with 1 shot on goal. Like, come on, man. That's not trying. That's terrible. So if he starts getting rid of those games, and I don't care if he doesn't score a point, at least have like 3, 4, 5 hits and get yourself involved in the game and in the plays, and have some scoring chances, either giving you some assists or making some dangerous plays. That's what I want to see out of him, and that's what the Sharks kind of need him to be. So again, it's not that I want him traded. It's more of, depending on what was coming back, I wouldn't be so sad if he were to be moved. And to me, I don't get as attached to Sharks players, because I understand it's a business. To me, I see them as these guys are hockey players. They're professionals. They've been working their butts off their entire lives to get to where they are. They don't care what sweater they're wearing. They don't care. It's a job. To them, it is a job. So if they get traded to another team, that's fine. They're not going to have any loyalty issues or anything. They're going to want to play in the NHL, and they'll be very grateful that they play in the NHL. So to me, it's not that big of a deal of getting traded, I guess. But at the same time, you can't just trade everybody like it's NHL 21 and you're the GM just doing everything, There's a difference there too.
So I'm going to disagree with that sentiment just a little bit. I think some players absolutely do love the team that they play for and want to be on that team. Imagine, or just remember that Erik Karlsson did not want to leave Ottawa. He was very sad to leave Ottawa, kept saying that this is my home. This will always be my home, all that stuff. So I think some players actually do get fairly attached, but I think on the most part, I think you're right. I think a lot of players in the NHL, specifically like the journeyman type players, right? Those guys, and especially like the younger guys, the rookies, the ones who are trying to establish themselves in the league, they don't really care where they play. They just want to be known as an NHL player. I 100% agree with you there. I think for the more established players, the ones that are higher profile, that have been on a team for a long period of time, I think there is some level of connection to the city, to the fan base. But, I don't know. Who knows? Who knows how each individual is different. I just know that there are certainly at least a few that kind of are in the other boat. I do want to bring up Lundy again. Here's Lundy again with the $3.99. Thank you so much, Lundy, for helping us out here, supporting the show as you do every single time. He says that game winner, LOL. Yes, we actually talked about that a little bit earlier, Lundy, but I'm going to bring it up again anyway as you're helping out the show here. So, yeah, of course, he flubs the puck behind the net. And as I had said at the top of the show, Gamby loves a game-winning goal. So, yeah, no, it was just a great one. It's a great one to see. I love when Jonathan Quick specifically makes a mistake and it bites him. I just can't stand that guy. Aaron, there was a time I think you were bringing up many years ago when we were talking with him grabbing onto Logan Couture's skate or something in the crease. Do you remember that one?
Is that a playoff game?
It was.
Yeah, there kind of was a scrum in front of the net. I think Logan got bumped into and pushed Quick. The puck leaves the zone, and Quick ended up on top of Logan. And as Logan's trying to get away, he just holds onto his leg and holds him in the zone so that the Kings could have an odd man break, basically going back the other way. And of course, there was no penalty called because it was the playoffs. So it's very frustrating to see when. I hate when other goalies, when that happens. Like Fleury's another one that I feel like he gets away with a lot of stuff. Fleury and Quick just really, really frustrate me because they do those extracurricular stuff. Now, if they're on my team, I would absolutely love them. But when it's against your team, I absolutely hate it. So also want to thank Lundy again for another $1.99 here. It says, I don't get attached to players either. Timo for Braun. Sarcasm there. So thanks, Lundy.
Thank you, Lundy. We appreciate all the support you give him the show over the 3 years. He's been with us a long time, Aaron.
Yep. Very long time.
Yeah.
Thanks, dude.
Thanks, bud. Appreciate that. Kellen, we're gonna maybe talk a little bit about that later on. It says so. Pick up Henrique is what you're saying. We're still talking about whether or not this is a playoff team. We'll get there. Hold your thought for just a minute here. Brash John maybe says, "Yay, live! Glad to catch you guys again. Keep up the great work, guys. Hey, thanks for being here. We're glad that you're here. So we're gonna do the show anyway, bud. So thanks for popping in. Appreciate you. Let's keep going here, Aaron. I had said on Twitter the Kings should be sellers. Actually, I said it in our show, and then I followed up on Twitter saying if you caught the last show, I said that the Kings should be sellers. And my response again to that was I said what I said because I'm not feeling that the Kings are a playoff team. Now, this is a team that went out and got Brendan Lemieux, I believe, and they gave up a 4th-round pick. Now, this was not a hockey trade, okay? A hockey trade would be like the Demers for Dylan, right? This is 2 guys, same position, but we need to change the scenery for them. They're not quite performing the way that we want them to for our specific teams. We trade for each other, and hopefully that kind of sparks something. That's a hockey trade, right? This is we're trying to bolster up. This is something that's a little bit different, right? If you were trying to get Brendan Lemieux on your team because you think maybe he could do well in LA, then you would give up something that's like a Brendan Lemieux in LA, going back the other way if you didn't think that you were necessarily going to be a playoff team. This team thinks it's supposed to make playoffs. That's why they're giving up a draft pick for it. So, again, for me, I said what I said. And the Kings are now seeing themselves at 7th in the division, just barely above the lowly Anaheim Ducks and, of course, barely below the lowly San Jose Sharks. But the Sharks are on a roll right now, and they also got games up against Anaheim and then 2 more against LA. And then I believe we follow up with 2 more against Anaheim, don't we?
I have to look at the schedule. But yeah.
Okay, but in any case, I think the next 5 games, it's all Anaheim and LA.
Yeah, it is. And hopefully the Sharks take advantage. I mean, I feel like the game tonight versus last night, the Kings felt like a different team. They knew that they needed to even up the series, I guess, and beat the Sharks, and thankfully they did not. But it definitely felt like a different game to me than the one before.
Yeah, no, 100%. They did. They came out with a lot more gusto, if you will. I do want to call out now Dan Nguyen. Oh, wait, before I do that, Dan, I'll get to you in just a second. Here's the schedule. And yes, it looks like, again, Tuesday is against the Ducks and then 2 against the LA Kings again. But this time it's at home. In fact, all 5 of these games are at home. And the next 2 will be Monday and Wednesday after next weekend, again, against the Anaheim Ducks. So that's 5 games in a row. Teams that we've beaten in this season fairly consistently, and we should be able to take these points. Now, whether or not we give a few points up here and there, whatever, but I feel like we can certainly come out with 10 points in the next 5 games, right?
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Should we?
Don't you think? Is there any way that obviously there's a way that we don't, but don't you think that this is like our points for the taking, and if Absolutely. We don't get them, there's something wrong?
Absolutely. And I know that the team is feeling the same way. So they're looking at these games going, this is our way to get back into the standings and get into a playoff spot and get some momentum going into other games and working on things. Right now, they're playing well. I like the way their game has looked in the last week, maybe the last 5 games. So I think it's coming together. I feel like they're getting some more confidence in themselves and getting other lines rolling, not just that top line of Kane and Couture going. So it's good for them and good for the team, good for the development as well as the younger players.
100%. Okay, so now I'm going to reach out to Dan's comment here. Dan with a $9.99 super chat. Dan, thank you so much, buddy. We do appreciate all the support that we're getting from you guys, especially tonight. My goodness. And the comment there says, right on, boys. Not even a question for us to answer, Aaron. What do you say to Dan?
Thanks, Dan. Right on back.
Right on. Awesome. Love it. Let's see. What else do we got here? I saw a really interesting insight from Randy Hahn. Actually, before I get to that, I do want to let Dan know we do have, again, the finfactor.com. We have a sale right now, 40% off everything in the store. So that $9.99, I appreciate you. I absolutely do. Feel free next time to go get yourself something nice from the store at the finfactor.com. Because, again, there's a sale going on up until April 12th. I'm not sure if you knew that or not. But, yeah, feel free. Head over there. If you find some merch that you like, and then send us a picture or something, and we'll be happy to post it up. There's the graphic. Yeah, I don't need to go through the whole thing again, but just wanted to make sure that you were aware of that sale there. Okay, so now I wanted to go back to this interesting insight that I heard tonight from Randy Hahn. He was actually going back to Mirko Mueller, if you remember this guy. It was a guy that was drafted in the first round by the San Jose Sharks. Turned out he wasn't what the Sharks were looking for. And for the organization, at least, he thought he was going to be this top pairing defenseman, and he just never really developed into that. So they took him, traded him to New Jersey, and they were able to get a second-round pick. That second-round pick, Aaron, do you know who it was? Take a guess.
I'm going to look
Quickly.
Mario.
No guessing. Or no looking.
Sorry.
Yeah, nice. Mario Ferraro.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
it took a while. But boy, did that first round pick pay off.
Yeah.
I mean, they hit the jackpot with Mario Ferraro. Again, I can't say enough about this guy. Even tonight, I don't know if you saw, he had like a shift that was a minute and a half or so long, and then he went off and took a short breather and came right back on again. To me, that's not just an Iron Man, like iron lungs from the young guy. That is a lot of trust in Coach Bob Bugner. Now, granted, Vlasic wasn't playing at this point, so they had to have a few more guys out there. But I'm talking like next shift. He was out there, and he had another long shift. So there's a whole lot of confidence in Mario Ferraro's game, as there should be. Again, this is probably the guy on the team who I like the most at this point. If I'm going to get a jersey, it's probably going to be a Mario Ferraro jersey at this point, because the guy's absolutely earned my admiration for the way that he hustles out there. I mean, his skill level is there. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a very skilled player. But for me, it's all about the hustle. He just never stops. And that's something that, I mean, I'm sure you could teach. But when the guy's already got it coming into the NHL, that's certainly something that's going to carry you in your career. If you continue to do that, you're going to be a guy that is successful in this league and desirable in this league. So, again, my hat is off to Mario Ferraro. And also just wanted to make a point that this is, again, how unpredictable the draft can be and why it's not always such a good idea to take your first round pick and take a draft pick coming the other way, as opposed to using that to trade and get something that you know is a known good. Now, Mario Ferraro panned out, but Mirko Mueller certainly didn't, and it wouldn't have been such a bad thing to take that first and trade it to get someone else. Your thoughts?
Well, first, any guesses on this ice time tonight?
Oh, gosh. I want to say like 25 minutes.
Try 27.
Oof. Close.
Carlson, 21. Burns, also 27.
Wow.
So Mario bested Carlson by 6 minutes.
That's incredible.
I mean, granted, he was probably playing with Burns a lot more. He's on the ice more with, wasn't he?
Yeah, sure. But okay, again, Vlasic's off the ice, so they're going through a 5-man rotation, which basically means that he was trusted more with those minutes. So even if he's Burns' partner, somebody's got to switch out for Ferraro and now and then, because there's only got 5.
They were down a left-handed defenseman, not a right-handed defenseman. So if they were down a right-handed defenseman, that would have been a different story. But yeah.
Yeah, maybe. No, that's true too.
Yeah. Lundy again for another $2.99. Pretty sure I subbed since episode 1. I think so too. I think you've been around that long.
I believe so. Yeah,
man. When we had terrible microphones and didn't know what we were doing, and crotch shots, and a studio that was hastily put together.
Okay, guys, if you're newer to the show, like even second season guys, okay, I would encourage you to go back and watch episode number 1.
1 through 4, I think it was, for the first that we had. Terrible equipment and everything.
Yeah.
Bad sound quality. It's not very good.
I would encourage you to go back and watch that, not to judge us, but to see the progression, to see how far we've come. It's definitely night and day. I know I'm a lot more loose and comfortable than I was back then. I still have the uhs and ums, but that's always going to be there. But the yeah, the comfortability, I think, in front of the camera and talking with everybody is definitely gone farther than when I started this whole thing off. That's for sure.
Brashon actually just bought a hat. Thank you. He also has a question. Is there any way we can protect Mario in the expansion draft with 3D men? He's actually protected. He's protected because he does not qualify since he's only 2 years into the league. So he is automatically protected. We're not going to lose him. That's for sure.
I love it. Super producer Jason. Oh no, super producer Jason. There's the crotch shots. There you go. We didn't even have these.
Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, we had just black colored shirts.
Yeah, just
and of course the studio. My goodness.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks for that. Hey, another guy that's been around forever, Sonic Tonic here says, started at the bottom, now we're here. Yeah, and we were definitely at the bottom. I gotta say, let me shout out real quick, and we'll get to keep talking here. But I gotta shout out super producer Jason for sticking with us for this long through all the bad quality that we gave him to work with. He still decided that the show was worth doing, I guess. So yeah, absolutely big ups to super producer Jason. Keeping us looking fresh and everything here with new equipment ideas and all those the help with the lighting and everything else, especially in this remote session stuff. So again, really good job there by super producer Jason helping us out with that. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Oh yeah, now we're gonna ask the question, Aaron. This is the question: is this going to be a playoff team after all?
You know what's going to happen? I think I said this last week. Sharks are going to go into this session playing the Kings and Anaheim, win a bunch of them, get a lot of points, jump in the standings. Then they're going to end the season against Colorado, Vegas, and get destroyed and miss the playoffs by a couple points and get a terrible draft pick. That's what I think is going to happen.
So remember last time when you said I'm going to try not to be a Debbie Downer?
There was a comment. There was a comment in here. I gotta find it. I gotta find it now. It said,
well, while you're finding that, Lundy says, "We love you, Jason." So we just throw that out there. And then Sonatonic, Jason, you're great. Brass John, Jason deserves a raise. I got news for you. Jason doesn't get paid for this.
Here it is. I'm a shark for life. About 8 minutes ago says, Aaron about to be a Debbie Downer. I can feel it. It's coming.
You've got a reputation, bud.
Whatever. I'm a realist. You know what? Sure. I'll be a Debbie Downer. And it's going to happen. And you're all going to say, oh, man, Aaron was right.
Yeah.
I don't want to be right. I will be glad if I'm wrong. Of course, I want to see the Sharks in the playoffs. But then they're going to play Colorado and just get flattened. Aaron Downer. Thanks. Thanks.
So now here's my other question then, because this has been called a reset season by general manager Doug Wilson. So in a reset season, generally, yeah, I mean, he even said we're not giving up our first, and I'm not expecting him to trade away the first just because there's a hint that maybe they'll make the playoffs. They're not trading that pick at all. I get that sense from him, right? But I do wonder, does this maybe mean that they're willing to make a slight improvement here or there, or are they just going to say, you know what, this group specifically earned their playoff spot when they probably should not have been a playoff team? We're just going to go in with them. They've earned it. We're not going to get anybody else to come in and take anyone's ice time away.
Yeah, I can't imagine them bringing in anybody that would be a difference maker without paying a high price for it. So
sure,
we have enough guys that are depth that are third, fourth line guys. Why would we add any more? Even defensemen, I feel like we have another one or two that could pop in there. So nobody, I feel like, in that lower end that would be a difference maker, a third or fourth line guy would make sense to me, especially since the Sharks don't really have any assets or anything to give up, and I wouldn't want them to give up any picks coming up in this draft or even next year's draft. So I think what's going to happen is they're either going to just miss playoffs or make it and just get bounced in the first round. Now, it's not the worst thing in the world to get bounced in the first round because you're going to get some experience for a lot of those young guys that have never even been in the playoffs yet. It's not a terrible thing, and it's playoff hockey, and you never know. And there's a saying that we used to always say on the show, right? If you can get to the dance, and you have a chance. So if you can make it to the playoffs, you get a chance to get all the way to the finals and win a cup. And of course, watch this team. They're going to trade away Marleau at the deadline, and then they win a cup without Thornton or Marlowe on it, only to fuel the fire. Can you imagine? Can you imagine?
I would feel great, but I would also feel kind of bad.
I'd feel great. Be like, yeah, we won a cup, but I feel really bad because now all those haters of Marlowe and Jumbo were right.
Oh man. Okay, let's talk about next games. We got again. We already said this.
Wait. What do you think of this team? Do you think they're a playoff team?
Honestly, at this point, I feel like they're going to make the playoffs. Do I think they're a playoff team? No.
You think they will? You think they will make the playoffs?
But does that make sense? I don't think they're a playoff team, but I think they'll make the playoffs.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? Like they don't belong there, but I think they'll actually squeak in.
The standings are very interesting because St. Louis is out of a playoff spot right now.
Yeah.
Arizona is in. Minnesota's above them by 9 points. That's a lot. To me, Minnesota is becoming a lock to make the playoffs.
Yep.
And then Vegas and Colorado are on a whole different level.
Yeah, no, totally. Brash John, for like the third or fourth time here, is saying Timo and LeBanc for Eichel. That's not happening.
I just don't see.
No. 10 mil. 10 mil a year. That's not happening.
I mean, I would like Eichel on the team.
Oh, me too.
But I don't see that happening. Like, I just don't see the Sharks going for it like that. Like we just said earlier.
Yeah, me neither. And I think Eichel would. I know his stats aren't there at all this season, but I think Eichel brings more than Timo and LeBanc combined.
Yeah, let's do a roll call right now.
Yeah.
And you tell us where you're watching from and if you think this team is going to make playoffs.
There you go. Now, let's clarify. If the team's going to make playoffs or if you think they're a playoff team, because there is a difference.
All right, what do you want to ask?
I think we'll go with what you said, though. Will they make the playoffs? But I want them to understand there's a difference. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so there you go with that one. Now let's go ahead and just talk about the next games, and we'll get to those their responses. How about that? Okay, next games. Again, we put the calendar up already, but Tuesday against Anaheim, Friday against LA, and Saturday against LA. Again, these are all home games for the San Jose Sharks. So though there won't be fans in attendance, they'll at least have the benefit of knowing the ice, knowing the boards, knowing the bounces, last change, all those different things. Aaron, talk to me about these three games in particular. I think you know where I'm going with this, but what do you think?
Anaheim's kind of limping right now. I think they're going to be done. They're going to be out. Did you know John Gibson got hurt?
Yes.
Right? Every year, like clockwork.
Do you remember the year I said?
Yes. No, I always say, like, John Gibson is he's an elite goalie to me, but he's not in that category because he gets hurt every year. But he puts that team on his back. Anaheim has more points in the standings because of John Gibson. No question. But he can't stay healthy. So anyway, LA's coming in. They have a lot of promising youth that are in their lineup. They have they have a high-end prospect defenseman that just cracked the lineup, and he also just got hurt. They got a new centerman that's pretty much going to be taking over for Getzlaf, but he's still too young. And they have another winger. So they've been on the losing end for a couple years now, kind of rebuilding and seeing the changing of the guard from that Getzlaf regime going to the new one. So Anaheim is going to be a team kind of like how Colorado was a couple years ago, where Colorado was had a lot of high-end prospects. I mean, we all know them now, McKinnon and Rantanen and Landeskog, and you could tell this team was going to be good, but they couldn't quite put it together. That's kind of where Anaheim's at right now. They're probably another 2-3 seasons away before making playoffs consistently and becoming a dominant team. So it's exciting. To me, it's exciting because you get to watch these young guys, and I like seeing these 19, 20, 21-year-olds coming in the league, and you're like, wow, who are these guys? They are doing amazing stuff, even if it's not on the Sharks team. But definitely a team the Sharks should win. They're going to have an extra day of rest than they have for the last couple weeks going into that game. It's going to be at home, and then they're going to come back and play again 2 more games against LA, who they just played against. I think those LA games are going to be only going to get harder because LA is now clawing their way back into what they think should be their playoff spot. They're going to be doing everything, kind of like how tonight's game was. I felt like the Kings pretty much outplayed the Sharks for the most part, but just couldn't get it on the score sheet. I wouldn't be surprised if one of those games is almost a blowout where the Kings just kind of put everything all together because they are so frustrated with the Sharks beating them so much. Now, I didn't look at the Kings schedule, but I imagine they have 2 games before they come into San Jose and play. So, yeah, I think those 2 games are going to be tough, and it's going to be more of a playoff atmosphere, especially since they just played them this week. So that's going to be 4 games within a week of each other, basically, or within 8 days. That's going to be very much a playoff atmosphere, and you should all be tuning in and watching these games because it's only going to get better from here.
I think we should be taking at least 4 of these 6 points. Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay. I feel like the Sharks will probably drop one of the LA games just because it's the Sharks. But I think that they should win all of these, and we've shown that we can beat LA in back-to-back nights, and there's no reason we can't do it in our own barn. As for Anaheim, again, they're at the bottom of the standings. I know we're not too far above them, but I think this team is surging while, like you said, their team is kind of floundering, especially with Gibson being out. He is, like you said, stirs their drink, really. So with him not there, this should be a team that we absolutely roll over. So I would definitely expect at least 4 points out of this next stretch here. Hopefully 6, but we'll see where it goes. Now, I got a comment here from Patrick Hayes saying, why are we talking playoffs? Playoffs? You know why, Patrick? Because we're 1 point out of a playoff spot, and the trade deadline is in what, a week? So that's why we're talking playoffs. It's a very real possibility. I mean, I'm not saying we're going to be winning in the playoffs, but I mean, by default, if we win enough games, we might find ourselves there. So who knows? But yeah, that's why we're talking about playoffs, because we're if you take a look at the standings, we're actually right there. They are hotter takes than the weather.
Sharks. The Sharks are only 1 point out of a playoff spot right now.
Yeah,
that's why we're talking about it. Hello. Our next show is going to be next Saturday night. We're not going to do one after the Tuesday game. Tuesday, right? I think it's a Tuesday game. Yeah, Tuesday. We're not going to do the one after the Anaheim game. So our next show will be Saturday night. Some guys asked in our last show if we would do a show during a game.
Yeah.
We kicked around the idea, and we just kind of still have to pick a game on the schedule, but we are interested. That'd be kind of fun. The problem is we can't have any of the feed audio or visual. So it's literally going to be us doing a show kind of like this and comments, talking in the comments.
Yeah.
And we're watching the show like silently, basically, while we're talking to you guys. So I don't know if it would be as fun or not, but at least you get some live comments from both Paul and I during the game instead of reading our tweets.
It's something we can try for sure. There'll be a delay, obviously, because there's like a 1 minute delay from when I'm actually talking to when it actually shows it to you. So I don't know how well that would work with a game being played real time. So I don't know. We can certainly try it, but it might be a little weird. So not really sure about that one. Anyway, let's see. Actually, again, I want to one more thing from Patrick here. Patrick says, remind me to never take betting advice from you guys. Okay. I don't know, man. Hey, I'll tell you what, Patrick, I'll make a deal with you. If they do take, maybe because of the comment I made that they should be winning all these games. If they do take 4 out of 6 points in this next week here, promise me you're going to come back on Saturday. It's the next show we're doing is on Saturday. Promise me you'll come back and let me know how we did. If you think that, not even if you think that, you're going to know how we did. You're going to see how the game's played out. So you come back in and you tell me either I was wrong or I was right. And one's going to have to say, I apologize to the other, I guess. So I'm looking forward to hearing you or seeing your words typed in the chat there, buddy. Pretty sure I got this one. What do you think?
Sure.
Okay, good. All right, cool. I love the back and forth. It's always fun. 1 point out with 20 games left. Yeah, I know. There's a lot of points on the table. There are a lot of times we're playing LA and Anaheim too. So
it's also good that it's all divisional games. So you get to do a lot of leapfrogging in the next couple weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. So I don't know. We'll see. Somebody's got to make it in there. And, if the Sharks are continuing to roll the way that they have been, why not us, I guess. So anyway, again, next show, like we just said, Saturday night, about 10:15-ish or so. So Patrick, I look forward to seeing you back in the chat there, and all the rest of you guys, obviously, Lundy, Sonic Tonic, Kellen, all of our regulars. You guys are awesome. We do appreciate it. Please do remember next time, I'm sure that you do every time, to hit us with that retweet, get us out to your friends and family. Okay, so Aaron, anything else you want to talk about here? Or are we all wrapped up?
No, I think we're good.
Okay, Kellen, I like where your head's at. Let's get to the dance. I'm with you. And buy a sticker packet with your winnings. Hey, I like that. There you go. Hopefully you win more than $3 if you're betting on this, by the way, if you do pick up a hat. We've already got a couple hats gone tonight. Thank you guys again for supporting the show with all of the super chat. If anybody hit us with the Venmo and we didn't catch it, I apologize, and we'll check and get you your comment or whatever it is next time around. And of course, anybody who went to the store tonight and took advantage of the 40% off, again, that's happening all the way through April 12th, the trade deadline. Yeah, there you go. There's the graphic right there. So again, premium quality stuff. We didn't skimp. We wanted to make sure that if we were going to wear this stuff, that we were going to be comfortable in it. So this is really good quality stuff here, guys. So I appreciate you again, all the support you guys have given us over not just this season, because this has been a really difficult season to do shows, but also the seasons prior. You guys are awesome, and we love you for sure. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye to you guys. So for super producer Jason, I'm Paul.
And I'm Aaron.
And we will see you guys
Saturday night
after the Sharks take at least 4 out of 6 points. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in. If you like this episode, check out our other content, especially interviews. You can interact with us directly through social media at The Fin Factor and on Instagram at Fin Factor. And don't forget to join our live streams on YouTube.
Visit our website at thefinfactor.com, where you'll find all of our episodes as videos or podcasts. You'll also find our exclusive merchandise to help support our show.